Don't get blinded by the light from fame. We're all ordinary people at the end of the day. We make decisions, some good, some bad, but we all pushing for things we never had.
Ordinary people with extraordinary ways.
Yeah.
Everyday people trying to make a way.
It's just us.
Ordinary people with extraordinary ways.
Yeah.
Trying to make a difference step by step each day. It's just us.
Welcome to IJU Ghana Live. I'm your favorite host, Semeh, on location at the Street Children Empowerment Foundation in Accra, Ghana. On today's show, we are discussing her journey, some of her struggles, her successes, with my guest, Tanya Robinson. She is Officer of the British Empire, OBE, given this honor by the British Queen herself. We'll be talking a bit more about that. She's a program director for Race Action Program. Tanya, welcome to IJU Ghana Live.
Hi, Paul. Hi, thank you for having me.
Great. Now, you are somebody I have met in this course of doing impactful work, and you are somebody I really admire. Today's program, IJU Ghana Live, is simply the place where we share stories to be able to connect ourselves, Africans on the continent, Africans in the diaspora, how we can share our stories and inspire people. So I have a very simple mission. I want you to open the gates. I want you to bring down the curtain, bring us closer to you so we can get to know you and learn from it, get inspiration, especially that this year has been a very, very sad year with COVID and all of that. We want to inspire ourselves again. So again, welcome to that. And I want you to tell me a bit more about, let's start with the honor you won from the Queen. Let's start with that. So tell me a bit about that, and how does somebody qualify and what does that mean?
Okay, so you're nominated. Generally, it's done by nomination, and it's quite a rigorous nomination process.
Okay.
Your nominee doesn't let you know that that's happening. So when you receive the letter to say that, it's been agreed that you would be awarded this honor, it's a complete surprise. It should be a complete surprise to you. So receiving a letter from 10 Downing Street, which is where the Prime Minister resides, was a shock to me to see that postage mark on the front, thinking, what's this for? And I went through a lot of emotions receiving that award. Because you do this work and you don't realize that people are actually watching you.
Yeah. You
don't realize that, the impact that you're having. I'm a true believer that there is a plan and purpose for all of our lives. Yeah. And I just believe I'm walking in my purpose. I don't always get it right.
Yeah.
But that's what I do, one foot in front of the other, and to know that people have not only been watching but actually taking the time out, to nominate me, was amazing. So my first feeling was, wow, but as the days went on, I sat and thought about it, and it kind of, the Officer of the British Empire is something that I didn't necessarily want to be associated with. So having an OBE is a great honor, but what it's associated with is something that I wasn't too pleased about.
Yeah.
So I did spend some time speaking to people, praying. Was I to actually accept the award, to accept the honor? And I really got a sense that, I live in England, opportunities, I don't have that, there isn't that nepotism, there isn't that kind of legacy or family that can open doors for me. Yeah. But actually, I really believe that this was God giving me an opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's giving me something that the world sees, that gives me recognition, which means that it opens doors. Yeah. So on that basis, I then I accepted, and then you've got to keep it a secret for like 2 months. You can't tell anybody.
Yeah, but I want to go a bit into what you said. I want to open it up a bit because you know that there's been a thing about us colored people all over the world being young, gifted, and black. It's a phrase that we are all very, very familiar with. And like thinking about what you just said, that you didn't know if you wanted to be associated with it. I'm sure it's just because of our history, our past, and who we are as people. But I'm sure the position of also opening doors is needed because of the race that we have. So I must say, maybe explain to our listeners and our viewers a little bit more what hierarchy is this in your service? Like, is it a hierarchy? Is it just an honor? Like, I'm just trying to let people appreciate this more because you earned it.
Yeah. So, well, firstly, I'll explain why I received it. I currently work for the Prison and Probation Service. So part of the honour was for my services to the Prison and Probation Service. And then the other part was for the charity work, and I'm sure we will talk about that later on in the conversation. This is something that is actually awarded by the Queen. So you go to Buckingham Palace. So there is there are various medals that you can receive which don't give you letters behind your name.
Okay.
The first honour that you can get that gives you letters is the MBE. Okay. So that's a member of the British Empire. Okay. I really think they are considering changing these names. Yeah. And then the one above that is the OBE, which is what I received.
Wow.
And then there's a CBE, and then you're starting moving into damehood and knighthood and various things. So yeah, it is, you know, it is a great honour. Hey. Out of the 60 million people to be recognised, you know, it is a great honour.
So you've not had this first time on IJU Ghana Live from all the production team, IJU productions in Atlanta and in Ghana. We say congratulations. We are really proud of you. And we want to let people celebrate you and your struggles as well. So would you mind telling me a bit more about what it means to be the program director for Race Action Program? The goal of that program, yeah.
Yeah, so the Race Action Program, again, I still work within the Prison and Probation Service. I've just recently moved from the head of diversity and inclusion, which is about, fundamentally for me, it's about decency for all. Yeah. In the UK, we've had various reviews done on disparity in outcomes, especially for young Black males within the criminal justice system. Yeah. You may also have seen there's in the UK, we have lots of data in terms of Black people in senior positions. So a term that's used in the UK, which is something that I don't like, but it's used for data purposes, is BAME, which is Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic. So one of the ways that we can find out what the numbers are in a particular ranking, or how many people we have in prison establishments, because the numbers are low, it's easier to group under this umbrella. Okay. So we know that in senior positions, Black people are not regularly represented on at boards, at director level, especially within the civil service. And it is something that they want to address.
Okay.
So part of my role is to set up a program of work to look at not only how we could make ways for Black, Asian, minority ethnic staff to be able to climb, that they don't hit a glass ceiling, that they can actually be promoted and get to the most senior levels, but also to look at how we can better engage with those in our care. So for example, we have a growing population of young Black males in prison, for example. In the youth prison, so that's up to 18-year-olds, it's around about 50% of those in prison are black males, and black people only make up around 4% of the population.
Okay.
And so actually that disparity is huge, and so we can't. We are not necessarily in control about who comes through the doors, but it's how we can better engage with those individuals. So it's about having better cultural awareness.
Yeah.
People, you know, and you'll know if you live in a city or if you live in a village. Yeah. Culturally, it's going to be very different, right?
Yeah, very, very different.
So you've got, not only do we have that in the UK where people are geographically, you know, dispersed and come from all different spaces, but can be all pulled together in one prison. Okay. But also you've got the cultural heritage that is different.
Wow.
So if you are Black African or Black Caribbean, culturally you're going to present differently to others. And so it's about how can we bridge that gap to better understand, to better engage, to help people to rehabilitate.
Yeah. Great. I can tell you that if you listen to the vision of IJU Ghana Live, it seems like you've been doing this all your life in this role, because our role is to have the cultural exchange, cultural heritage of people. I'm sure you have followed Black Lives Matter this year and all the things. And Africans on the continent were not really rising to the occasion to support Africans in the diaspora. And the question was like, why are you guys not agitated or angry or supportive? And then some of us on the continent are like, because that connection has not been there. That connection, the cultural diversity, the understanding of the issues, the appreciation of the issues has not been the same. So that disparity has kind of like been there, and it's not making us feel as one people. So I am really glad that we have just started this road, but you have been doing this all your life. And Nelson Mandela said something, I don't know if it's Nelson, but there's a favorite quote that goes that there is only 2 places you can read all day, apart from in school and in prison. So if you are taking taking better care of people, especially when you mention a lot more colored people coming to the prisons, that is indeed a very noble job. And I can see that spirit of movement, supporting people, has been in you, and we are glad that you can share this story with us. And on that basis, would you want to tell us what inspired you to aspire to do this? And it's not just this. You also work with women's rights, empowering women, and doing all sorts of social work. What is the inspiration behind this?
I just really have this belief in my core that people's circumstances, or what they can currently see as their circumstance, does not determine your destination.
Wow.
And so there is hope. And what I want to be is that hand of hope for people who cannot necessarily see their potential. And so when it comes to women, I've met some amazing women who have overcome so much, and it is how can we glean that? How can we learn from that and say, actually, you know, I've been where you've been. I've experienced what you've experienced, and it doesn't necessarily need to be the end for you. You know, I think people just need to tap into what burdens them, what is their desires, what are the desires of their heart. And I think once you tap into that, you can then start walking in your purpose. You might not be able to see it, but I think then the door's open for you to be able to walk in your purpose. And I've seen it. I've seen my own life is testament to that. You know, I mean, even in my work, I would never. I think if I would have capped my dreams to what I could see, I would have been happy to have been the office manager. You know, because of my circumstance. But I do believe I walk in faith. Sometimes I step out and don't even realize that, you know, what door is opening as I'm stepping out.
Wow.
But you won't know the space until you step into it, right? And the space tends to be bigger than me every step.
Wow.
And then you grow into that space. And then you think, oh, it's time to rest now. Oh no, there's another step to take, you know. And that isn't everybody's journey. It doesn't have to be that way for everybody. But I just think that you find a peace when you're walking in your purpose. And so I like to share, like I've come to Semeh, and I've spoken to the young girls there, and I've just been, you know, if you could just say to somebody, you know, without all the barriers, without everything that you can see, what would you dream to be? And hearing some of those girls saying, you know, I remember one standing up saying, I want to be a lawyer. And that for me is what it's about, actually, because it's getting people to dream bigger than what they can see.
Great.
And then how can we actually help people on that journey to achieve that?
I'm sure that in doing this as a women activist, you have come through a lot of barriers, stereotypes, preconceptions, lack of support that has limited your progress. Can you share some of these with us?
Yes, no problem. So I think I'm a solution provider. So I see a problem and I go, what can we do to fix this? What can we do? And so I try not to open my eyes to too many burdens, because then others I'd never sleep, because I want to solve the world's problems, right? So one of the issues that we have near where I live and near my church, there was lots of sex workers on the streets. I started to see more and more of these girls coming out, and I just thought, you know, we are a big church. What are we doing to come alongside these girls and love them? And if anything, what was happening from all of the churches around that area, I felt that these girls were being rejected, because it was like, you know, they're prostitutes, you know, that is what they're doing is not right. They're sinful, they're, you know. And also, this is not to blame people, I think, because you don't understand it. If you don't understand why people have maybe fallen into that situation, then you don't have the empathy for it. So anyway, to cut a very long story short, I started an outreach. I had no clue of how to engage with these women. I just felt a real burden to do so. And so I would just go out. I got a group of volunteers, and we would go out and just give women tea and coffee. Like at midnight, we'd go out at midnight and just walk the streets for 2 hours and just not want anything from these women, because everybody they come across wants something from them. Be it their money, be it their body, everybody wants something from them. So to go back to your question in terms of barriers, one of the biggest barriers that I found was raising money to try to help support these girls. So I now chair a charity that Women on the Frontline Ministries that goes out. We've been going out for 10 years now to support these girls, and to get funding, or to get when you're doing local fundraising, be that speaking at events, or doing the kind of where you're putting in bids for funding. When it comes to trying to help these girls, people don't really want to part with money. So it is a real massive barrier, and it also can be. You can also feel discouraged. Because when you feel like you're doing good work, so you want to see change. You want to see change in people's lives, and actually, none of this is about me. It's not about my glory here. It's not about me being, haloed here.
This is
I'm a link in a chain to someone's life.
This is my 8 to 5. So I really, really feel your pain at this point. I know what you're saying quite well. So when you are doing amazing stuff and you don't get the support needed, even when people don't even share it, people who are supporting you, who say they like what you're doing, will not even share it on social media, for example. So other people donate. Maybe they don't have the money. Then you feel, oh, maybe I'm not doing something right. Maybe this is not the way to do it. But Yeah, I get your pain. Let's move on to other barriers.
Yeah.
You were telling me a bit more about, you were telling us about the frontline, women on the frontline ministries. So maybe now that you started a conversation already, maybe let us in on it fully. What exactly does the organization do from the board? How do you see all of this happening and making sure they achieve their vision?
Yeah, so I stopped going out on the streets to do the actual outreach some years ago, because I believe that I birth things. I have a vision, I birth it, and then people come along and they carry it. And so that's what's happened with this ministry. And so our aims are, I mean, our ultimate aim is to have a house for these girls. Because right now, if we have a girl that wants to come off the streets tomorrow, we have nowhere to put her. We have nowhere to place her. And so we generally pay for a cheap hotel or somewhere for her to stay. The problem that we have with the girls is that the majority of them are trafficked. So yeah, so you may have girls from West Africa, predominantly from Nigeria, and then, but the bulk of the girls are from Eastern Europe. So so there's language barriers there, but also you're being watched. So while you're speaking to the girls, you've got to be very covert. If you're trying to share details with them, you can't make it obvious because there are men watching them. And it's so heartbreaking to see, because the perpetrators in all of this and the finger pointing is at the girls, is at the women, and actually they're the victims. So part of our vision and our mission is to let them know that they are victims, so that they can actually, so that they can know that it isn't okay. I mean, some of them have got there was one girl that I had a conversation with that broke my heart. And I spoke to her and said, if you could be whatever you wanted to be, what would that be? And she said, the best prostitute that I can be.
Wow.
And I said,
that's sad.
Heartbreaking. And so I said, so tell me a bit about your story. And so when she was 5, she was sold, because her family couldn't afford to feed her. She was sold into a pickpocketing ring. And then she went all around Europe, and she just, would pickpocket, shoplift. And then when she was old enough, she was sold on again into prostitution. So when you're dealing with people, somebody like that, and I'm talking to her about love, and I'm talking to her about, there's more for her, there's hope. There's no way that she's going to be able to see that. There's absolutely no way. So we have to have a space to be able to bring them out of that environment, to actually be able to pour into them, and spend that time with them to undo some of the trauma that they have experienced. And sometimes we see breakthrough, but without the funds and the means to be able to actively be able to support them, it does make it quite difficult.
Wow, you are doing, I don't know, but maybe you want to share with us, how do you have all this positive energy to share always? Because from your 8 to 5 work, you are doing something that is hands full already, making sure that people get better, making sure that people are placed where they are due. Now you've taken on other duties where you are leading women who are into sex work. And I know that you started something with Girls to School. And I know what you are also doing here in Ghana. Share with us, kindly tell us the secret. How do you have that positive energy to share?
I just think there is nothing better. How can there be anything better in life, knowing that you've potentially impacted someone's life?
Wow.
How is there anything better than that?
There's the laughter.
You're a catalyst. You are a link in a chain potentially to changing the trajectory of somebody's life.
Wow.
That is priceless. That is absolutely priceless. And I think that I would be completely miserable if I made this life all about me.
I think on this, where we'll go on, there is an award coming for you before the show comes to an end. Tell us a bit more about Girls to School, another one of your projects, and how you're doing great.
Yeah. Again, so I'll try to keep it brief, but again, it was a trip to Kenya, and I went to see some projects there in Mathare, which is, I think, the second biggest slum in Nairobi, and there was lots of girls, and it was a school time, and I was like, why are these girls at this building? It was at a church. Why are they here? And why are they not at school? And they said, well, we get a lot of girls coming here because they have no sanitary products, so they can't go to school, and then they come here because this is a safe space. And if we have, then we provide them. Being the solution provider, I was like, well, what can I do? How can I help? How can we fix this? And then I thought about different ways that we could potentially maybe raise money and send pads every month, but actually, I think that's not sustainable. And as you've already pointed out, I'm very busy. So, and I'm really poor at fundraising, I have to say. I'm not really good at it. So that wasn't a great idea. And then for a really good friend of mine, I was introduced to somebody who lives in Denmark, but actually has these sanitary pads, makes these sanitary pads. Yeah. And when I saw them, I was really impressed. I mean, they are beautiful and they're reusable. So I was like, right, okay. So I did some fundraising, raised enough funds to be able to provide 200 girls with a pack. And in that pack, there were 4 sanitary pads. And so we went out there, we ran some workshops with these girls. And it was just amazing, actually, how many girls don't even know what's happening to their body at that time of the month. They don't know, and they don't tell anybody. They don't have the conversation with anyone. So we did some lessons. We brought in a HIV nurse who then talked them through about the risks involved. And it was amazing to be able to do that. So those 200 girls could then go to school for the whole year and not have to worry about sanitary products.
Great.
I
know that extended to Ghana. I have been a part of a workshop where you have talked about Girls to School and reusable sanitary pads. You want to share that with us as well?
Yeah, no. So I think coming to Ghana and then meeting you and the work that you're doing, I was just blown away. One, and I'm not saying this just because I'm speaking to you, but your integrity. I was just drawn to the fact that you have such a heart for the work that you do.
Thank you.
There's a kindred spirit there. And I thought, well, actually, what I don't want to do is continually raise money and then just provide. Actually, this is something that in collaboration can be done where it could be something that's sustainable for Seth. And so, so we're kind of in discussions about what we can do. And I think that's been blocked by COVID. But I think the plans will be how we can help train up some of the mums to make these sanitary products. And then that could be a small business in terms of being able to sell them, but also then provide the girls with free sanitary products so that they don't have to miss school. That for me will be the ultimate goal with this project here. Yeah.
Okay. I know we have said a lot and you have shown us all the sweet spirit that you are. But I think it would be fair that our listeners know. People may think that, oh, she was born with a golden spoon in her mouth, all the things in her life, so she can afford to say, this is my life path. I want to just give. But maybe she didn't struggle. Tell us about growing up and becoming Tanya Robinson, OBE.
OBE. So I think, I think that, my journey is one that highlights the fact that circumstance doesn't dictate your destination. So yeah, I was born. I was born. I wasn't born into money at all. Very kind of working class background. One would say poor, and a single parent home. So my mum raised us by herself, 3 children. I left school at 15, slightly rebellious.
Wow. I don't believe that. I don't believe it.
Well, and then by the age of 23, I had two children. By the age of 30, I was a single parent, still with no qualifications, and still no real kind of career path.
How
Really.
How do you have this profile now? Go on. I'm curious.
Then I was hit with purpose, really, and I think that if I can instill that in people at a younger age, I mean, if that would have happened to me, you know, in my teens or in my early 20s,
yeah.
Where would I be now? You know?
Yeah.
So it hit me quite late in terms of understanding my purpose. I didn't grow up as a Christian. I became a Christian in my early 30s, and that for me was a real shift in seeing beyond my circumstance. And now I just, as I say, I kind of just I work very hard. It isn't, you know, faith without works is dead, right? So we don't just sit and it all comes to you. That's not what happens at all. However, a door creaks open a bit, and I will work really hard to make sure that's pushed all the way open. So yeah, I think I've been recognised for my work.
Wow.
And so even stepping up within, you know, the civil service, that has been based on my work ethic, my outputs, what I deliver. And I think as well, I'm really keen to be my authentic self in that.
Yeah.
Because if you are trying to pave the way for others to follow, what you don't want to become is a clone of what's already there.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I want you to look in the camera and tell a young lady watching this, listening to this show, who feels that COVID has come, I've lost all my capital, this Black Lives Matter, I lost my shop, everything is done for me. I want to throw in the towel. I want to just give it up. I want you to look in the face of that girl, that woman, and tell her that you are the hand of hope.
Okay, Paul, it broke up. It did break up quite a bit, but I think I got the gist of what you were asking me.
Yeah.
I think. So basically, you just want me to encourage.
Yes.
Okay. So what I would say is that, and you know, my mantra: circumstance doesn't dictate your outcome. We can all be at rock bottom, and sometimes you need to hit rock bottom to be able to look up, to take the next step, to pull yourself out, to find the strength to be able to pull yourself out. And actually, I think we find that there is strength within us that we didn't realize that we had until we really need to dig deep to pull that up. And I don't know what your circumstances are, and I know that there are millions of people around the world who are struggling right now. You know, they've lost their homes, they're losing their jobs. I don't think the financial crisis has completely hit us yet. And so my heart aches for people who are going through that. But what I would say is, don't give up. There is always hope. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. As I've said, it might be a time for you to rethink what it is. What are your skill sets? What is transferable? Where can you take those skills and maybe put them into a different venture, for example, or go for a different type of job? I mean, my roles have varied so vastly. You know, but because I've got the work ethic, wherever I step into, it blossoms and it flourishes. So I would just, my thing would be, do not give up. Do not lose hope. And there are people, there are organizations who are there to help. And if we can find a way, Paul, of being able to make sure that, you know, organisations, that we have like lists and stuff that can be shared on social media for people to reach out to. But yeah, I just think my message would be, don't give up. If my life can go from where it was to where it is now, there is hope for everybody.
Wow, there is hope indeed for everybody. Thank you very much. You have given me personally some healing today. I think one of the reasons I had you on the show was anytime we talk, I see the healing happening both ways. And I'm sure our listeners and our viewers have had the healing as well. As we share our authentic stories, we heal ourselves, we heal people, we make the world a better place. We get people to get out of the whole negativity of COVID and be able to reach out. I would definitely want to have you back on the show to talk about a lot more great things you do. But for now, it's been an honor having you. Listeners, this has been your favorite host, Paul Semeh. This is IJU Ghana Live. It will be broadcasted on Caribbean Radio, Caribbean Voice Radio, on every Fridays at 9 EST and 1 p.m. in Ghana. It will also be uploaded live on YouTube, IJU Ghana Live. So you don't want to miss it. Subscribe to that button. Share with people. We are sharing, inspiring ourselves. Don't keep all these goodies to yourself. Tanya, it's been an honor having you. Thank you very much for passing through, and we'll have you back here again.
Thank you, Paul.
Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.